Hi, my name is Subaya. I am part of Orange TechnoMind, the leading training institute in Chennai on Docker and Kubernetes. Today we will see what is the Docker. The Docker, the modern DevOps tool, widely used in software companies on development environment. And now they are started to use that in testing and UAT testing, whatever the testing areas they started to use. I can say very frankly, Docker is removed environment related issues uh, uh, in software companies, in ITs, everywhere. We will see what is the Docker. Docker, it's an open source platform. Uh, it's developed by one of our network engineer, Mr. Solomon. It's basically two kind of versions are available. One is that open source. It's called Docker Community Edition. Uh, in short, they will call us a Docker C, and another is Docker Enterprise Edition. There are there is no much difference between Docker C and Docker EE. It's a Docker EE support specifically used where Docker is running in production actually. Docker allow us to package application. It's a good word, no? Packaging application. We have seen that application installation in a packaged manner, but packaging application with all of its dependencies into a standardized unit for a software development. It's a must actually. Why it's must actually in a development environment? If we are going to package the environment variables and related variables in a packaged manner with that correct version of software, correct version of Java, correct version of Node. So if you are going to package and deliver to developers, they will stick to use only on that environment. They will not deviate, and we will get a granular control with the developers development area. Also, that once it's get developed, there are various stages to go to production. It's need to cross that UAT testing and QA testing. Everywhere it has to cross. So the environment variables and the related variables remain need to be same across all. So the Docker will help actually. Docker it's one of the DevOps tool, and it mainly help for developers and also system admins to easily deploy application in a container manner to run the to run on the host operating system actually. Unlike other virtual machines, container do not have a high overhead and enable more efficient usage of underlying system and resources. What is that efficient usage? We hear that virtual machines are very efficient usage of resources. Yes, obviously. We will see in the next slide actually. My name is Subaya. I'm practicing cloud more than 7 years, and I'm expert in architecting infrastructure services and IoT and IIoT services in modern clouds. And I'm also expert in Docker, OpenShift, and Kubernetes. I'm supporting many more clients in Kubernetes and Docker. So the current industry standards, what are containers? We will see what are containers. The current industry standards to use virtual machines to run software applications. Yes, obviously, 99% of IT companies are already migrated from physical environment to virtual environment. So they obviously use virtual machines to place their development, testing, whatever the environments. VMwares are virtual machines run applications inside a guest operating system, meaning we have a physical server and then we will install a hypervisor OS, something like that, VMware, Hyper-V, and then we will install the guest operating system, something like that, Linux, Windows, or Unix, whatever. Then we will deploy our applications. It's an efficient way of usage the hardware, but actually The main problem on that, if you are going to allocate 8 GB memory on virtual machines, it's a reserved. Okay, maybe a point of a time it will reach to 8 GB. It's a very rare case in development to reach that allocated memory. Maybe it's a 8 GB or 16 GB or 24 GB, whatever, but it's a very rare case to reach that memory. But here the resource wastage is coming actually. Whatever the CPU we allocated to VMware, and memory what we allocated to VMware or hypervisors, it may be waste actually. Yes, there are options are there to control that hardware resources, something like that, CPU, memory, but storage it's a much more important. Okay, it's like one way only. If you allocate it, reverting back to original stage or reducing the stage, it's a nightmare for storage administrator and hypervisor or VMware administrator. So this is that place container it's coming. Containers taking a different approach. What is the different? By leveraging the low level machines of a host operating system, meaning it's physical machine, and then we are installing any OS on that physical machine called host operating system, something like that. It may be Windows, or it may be Linux, or it may be hypervisor server. Okay, but here most of the people, most of the Chinese will ask whether it's going to replace that VMware. No, it's not possible. Okay, it's not going to replace that virtual machines. Till this period, it's a very there is no technology to replace that virtual machines. Why? We can ask the question why. The reason, till now there is no other technology to run two different OS, something like that, Windows and Linux in the same physical machines. Okay, so it's very tough to replace that virtual machines actually. This is not the plan for introducing the Docker. It's a Docker. It's for isolating that environment from that host operating system, and use the effective of binaries and libraries and host operating systems kernel. So it's at yes, actually it will effectively use. I can say very frankly, it's at more than any VMware or Hyper-V or KVM technology. More than that, it will betterly work actually. We will see what is that virtual machines and containers. There's a story. It came from machine virtualization, infrastructure, and then we have infrastructure, nothing but it may be my desktop or my physical server or anything, my storage, anything, and then we are installing hypervisor, and then I am installing guest OS. I am just representing that left side diagram, and then we will install on the hypervisor, we will install the guest OS, and then we are installing binaries and libraries related to our applications. The application may be Tomcat or WebSphere or anything, or RDBMs, database, anything related binaries and libraries, we are installing that. In the right hand side, that you can see that containers, infrastructure, it will remain same. My storage, my physical server, my ISP connectivity, my internet, intranet connectivity will remain same. And then my operating system, meaning it's replacing the hypervisor. But don't give a thinking something like that it's going to replace the hypervisor. So I'm just representing operating system, and then container engine. The container engine, it may be Docker or something like that, container engine softwares. Okay, there are different container engine softwares also available in the market, but Docker is that one of a good, because that it's written by a network engineer, and he combined everything in a very good manner to have a robust container engine actually. After him, some other vendors, some other leading vendors also started to develop again on their existing failed container softwares. Okay, and that's a different story actually. Container engine, and then we are installing binaries and libraries for our applications. Okay, so it's over reducing that guest OS memory CPU utilization. It will just use that packaged applications, CPUs and memory. That also we can limit actually. Another representation diagram. So these also it's a password. So people don't have should not think about it. Will it's going to replace hypervisor. We can also do that. Docker engine host Linux and then host OS hypervisor guest Linux. That also we can do everything. Third one, Docker non-Linux environment. It's mostly widely used in that industry actually. So why use containers? Yes, as I said a few minutes back, as a developer or as a system administrator, we have heard that noise in most of the development environments. Hey, my code was working in my machine, not in UAT or in dev or in production. Hey, it was working in till yesterday, but today is not working in my laptop. I'm so tired to hear that in the software industries. A very common word. It was working, it's not working in that particular environment. I don't know what was wrong in that environment variables. That need to be looked by system administrator or Linux engineer or database administrators, not by me. And then database administrator will tell something wrong in his code. It was working in that UAT, development environment. Then he or she may take time to investigate. But stop that. It's in a container world, it's not going to happen actually. For main purpose, it will isolate and package the application with all the dependencies into a single container. What is container? Containers, it's an image. When we are running a image meaning nothing but a template. It's a packaged everything in a single one. Okay, if you are going to run the images, that called containers, and the container may be one or two images or multiple images to compose into a single one. Okay, these method, the decoupled method allows container based application to be deployed easily, consistently. What is easily? So we can just hand over that packaged containers or any newcomers or any developers, any new joinees or a newcomer for our project. So we can hand over that image just what we need. Okay, he can start to work that next minute itself. He don't need to depend on that environment. He just start. He can just start to run that images or containers. He can start to develop in the next minute. Okay, from the operational point of view, we can have a granular controller. What is the granular controller? Example, if I'm going to have a application, Node.js application, I have to specifically control it should work only with that Node.js 8.1, 8.11 or something. Okay, if it's going to be below also it may be issue, above also it may be issue. So we can have a granular controller on the software versions or the environment variables or storing the logs. Okay, and it will have a granular controller from the system admin point of view or project management point of view. That's the reason Docker it's helping widely actually. Now we can understand why Google and Netflix using your Dockers to replace their massive data centers actually. Yes, they are widely used Docker actually. So it's a story of Docker actually. It's architect by Solomon. He said basically started his career as a network engineer. Then he uh, become company CEO for Dark Cloud. I don't know, it's a CEO or CFO, but he started. He is the co-founder of Dark Cloud company, and then that Dark Cloud company merged as a or named as a Docker in March 2013, and then later 2015 they joined OCI. We will say that Open Container Initiative. They joined in that. Is that central forum for all containerization development companies? Okay, it's participated by most big companies, something like that, Microsoft, Red Hat. Uh, so much of big companies are involved in that Open Container Initiative forum. From here, they started their success steps actually. We will see that technology began Docker, Linux. It's a purely written by Linux, and Go language. It's a Google language, and it's a client-server daemon architecture actually. Yes, it's something like that, client-server architecture only. Union file system for all the purpose of all the purpose, storage related purpose, everything. Docker is using a union file systems. There are Docker is supporting almost modern union file system. Nothing but what is that union file system? It's the unification file systems. It's a copy and write technologies, and AUF is nothing but another unification file system, and BTRFS is that another unification file system. It's invented by Oracle. Somewhere they left, again they are starting to develop again. The forums are saying, and Oracle is saying they started again to revisit that BTRFS actually. VFS, it's nothing but virtual file systems, namespace, whatever that PID, it's all core things for Dockers, control groups, and container format. Container format, it's nothing but lib container. It's that wrapper for wrapping everything. Okay, this is just a introduction of Docker. We will see more videos in coming actually. Thanks for watching my video.